welcome to hopefully helpful video. This is going to be a double intro. So I shot this video right after I got my printer and it wasn't working because of the potentiometer on my stepper driver wasn't set right, and it was doing a bunch of and that's called thermal overload. And I went to a bunch of searched around for how to fix this thing, how to adjust it, and I found some information here and there in different videos, and I pieced it all together and figured out what to do for my printer. Because there are CNC machines and laser engravers and a bunch of other stuff that use stepper motors, but yeah, the way they did it was a little bit different. So this was in this video you're going to watch, it's going to be specifically for the Flying Bear, because this is the Flying Bear P902. But the thing that I think is important is that you can fix your thermal overload with just a screwdriver. Just one. You can make a plastic screwdriver out of using a file and a piece of plastic. So that's all you need. I'm not going to use the computer. I'm not going to use a voltage reader, because if you're getting this thing and you're like, well, I don't have all that stuff, well, then how are you going to fix it to, start printing? Later, after you get it going, then maybe you can go out and buy a voltage regulator or a voltage meter, and you can test it and set up all the right things and adjust it so it's perfect. But if you just want to get this thing going and printing and avoiding the well, this is how I did it, and it works. So I'll show you the instructions, which are kind of vague and kind of point you in a direction, but it doesn't tell you how to do it. So the instructions under troubleshooting, it's like, if this situation is happening, for example, they think if you're getting a then the tension screw is too tight. But I've run this thing with 0 tension and it's okay. The tension from the spring is enough without even using the little screw on top. You don't need even more tension. And one of the issues, I think, issue number 4, at least in my instructions, was if there's no filament coming out, what should you do? And they suggest slowing down the print speed, or adjusting the current to the stepper motor. And that's it. And it's like, well, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, because if, like, I was having issues with my computer trying to get the thing going there, and then they didn't really explain that, so that's why I'm making this video, to show you how to adjust the current to the stepper motor, which in my case was the extruder, and remove the thermal overload, which is the too much current going into the extruder and making it go chicka 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 chicka. Yeah, so you need to turn it down. Turning it to the left reduces the current. Turning it to the right, the potentiometer screw, increases the current. Okay, that should be, and yeah, don't start jabbing the circuits with a metal screwdriver, because you might short circuit something. That's why the plastic thing. Okay, and the voltage reader stuff, do that later. Just get your printer going so you can go, yay! And happy pagan converted ceremonies to everyone. Go pagans. Enjoy your shopping. I did. I got, oh look, I got two. I got my two extra stepper motors. So now I have XYZ plus my extruder and my two. Now I have 3 extra stepper motors for the diamond head. So I'm gonna be doing that over the pagan holidays and paganisms. Get back. Go atheists. Go agnostics. Yeah. Alright, welcome to Robot Adventures helpful video. Come back. Yum yum yum. Children. Dumbasses. Stupid people. Shit for brains. Do not watch this video. This video is not made for you. This video is made for people who are interested in my videos and interested in this thing. Well, I was just watching pro wrestling where they were all hot and sweaty. And then I came over here to tell you that you're a fucking dummy. Yeah! Donald Trump. Alright, so, what I'm going to do is show you what I did. This is my Flying Bear P902, and it's got the MK8 setup, direct feed thing there, and with the side fan, like this. And when I got it, I'll show you the video of how it sounded. Nippers. Oh shit. Let's shoot now. So when you first get this thing, you got the spool on the thing. So, and there's no, in the instruction manual, it didn't tell you how to insert the filament, and, yeah, you had to go search somewhere else to get that. Also, with this, setup here, you can't, because of this fan and that kind of heat sink right behind there, you can't see where the filament is, and you don't know if it's in or not, and you're just kind of blindly sticking it in there. You know, like when you're having fun with donkeys. So yeah, so let's take that apart and see where the filament goes in, and then what I'm going to do is screw around with the motor, and I'm going to show you how to mess around with it so that you can adjust it so it's not going quank 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 like mine was, and so you can get the nice smooth. And I'm not going to be using the PC for this. I'm just going to be manually doing it off of the ramps board with the motor control, the stepper motor controller potentiometers. So yeah, that's what we're going to try to do. So I'm intentionally going to screw it up and then fix it again so that you know how to fix it again after you screw it up. Or it gets screwed up, or something happened with the thing. Something happened. Come back. Alright, so when you first get this thing, it's going to be like this without the this inside. So I'll take that out. Hopefully it'll pop out. And it doesn't pop out because it's probably in there somehow. So let's take a look at what's inside there. Oh, I already know what's inside there, Ruben. You're a stupid head. Okay. So we're gonna use this, I think it's a 3mm Allen wrench that came with your Flying Bear thing. Oh shit, robot just fell down. And we'll stick it in there and undo the screws. They're pretty easy to do. Oh shit, everything's coming out. Okay, so I don't have the wires wrapped up yet. I still haven't even done that because I'm still fucking around with this thing. And I have it unplugged. So there's no power. I'm going to take off this thing. This is the fan, right? And it goes through some of the stuff you see online. You can purchase some of these kits. Their heatsink is a little bit different. This heatsink looks like this. They actually have a lot of the pegs. I actually straightened up some of these. They're a little bit meh. But yeah, some of them have the whole bottom corners smoothed out or chopped off or something. So, and then we got that part there. So let's zoom in on that. And will it zoom? Will it focus? Okay, there it goes. I didn't put that red mark on there. I guess that was done by the manufacturer. So if you're going in blind and you can't see, I'm going to try to take this filament out of the top here, and I'm going to push down this. Oh shit! I'm moving the. Oh, it's in there. Oh, it's stuck in the hot end, so I can't take the filament out. But and I don't really need to take the filament out. What I wanted to show you was how the internals look there, and the internalizations. And this thing is way too far from the camera. I'm zooming in on the max, cranking it into turbo, maximizing the envelope. Blah 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 blah. Come on. Focus. Alright, so you can see, and maybe if you have a keen eye, you'll see that this part here is my transformer tool. I'm using it for something else. It screws. I'll show you another one that I have, because I bought extras. This thing right here is the heater block, and it's supposed to have this nut on there. I think, according to the rip wrap, it's got the nozzle and the screw to hold down the thermistors and the wires to heat this thing up. But if you notice on there, I don't have this nut on there. So they gave it to me without a nut. Can you believe that? All I wanted was nut. That's not true, Ruben. You know what? Yeah, man. So yeah, if you're trying to stick the filament in for the first time, you're all trembling like, oh, it's the first time I've inserted the filament. That's what I said, because it's kind of shaped like in the size of filament. Hey, oh wait, watch it. So yeah, maybe just taking off this fan and taking off that heat sink before you turn the thing on. Maybe that would be good. It's like, oh, you can see where the little hole is for the filament. You just stick it in there, just right in there. And yeah, if you're doing it blind, maybe you can't see where the thing lines up, and sometimes the filament doesn't go between the that guide and the knob. It's sometimes, you know, because it's really, there's a big gap here on top. Yeah, that gap right there. You know, you got a lot of play here, so it's like, where is it going? And it might be better just to open up that thing and just look at it and stick the filament in there. And then once it's in there, it just pops in there real quick. So it's good. Also, I really don't know about the tension on this thing. Yeah, the motor seems to rotate well with it on, or so. I mean, I don't think it's an issue with the pressure on this pressure on this drive gear, but I'm not really sure. And what I want to do, well, I got to take that thing out now so I can show you how I screw around with the thermal overloads or weak things. So I'm gonna have to heat up the nozzle to try to pull this out. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah, it's melted in there. Alright, so let's crank this thing up and start heating up the... So I'm going to plug it back in. Hold on. Alright, so I'm going to heat up the... Where's my other hand? Where's my other hand? And then where's my other hand? I'm going to heat up the PLA, so prepare heat PLA, so that'll get the nozzle a little bit hot. Right now it's at 17 degrees, so I'm going to crank it up a little bit, and I'm going to control the temperature. I don't need to go to 250 something. I'm going to drop it to, I went over there to nozzle, and I'm going to maybe just warm. Oh shit, no, don't want to go that way. I'm going to say 100. 100 is good. No? I don't know, 100-ish. And then I'm going to hold the thing, try to get the filament out, and then I can show you me fucking around with the shit. Alright, it was out. And just popped it right out after I heated it up just a little bit. So, yeah, it's good. We're good to go. We don't need to go anymore. Alright, now it's cooling down. It's cooling down. Alright, so I got the filament out of there. Pretty quick to do that. And it's already hard again. It's like a young man. So I'm gonna use these nippers to cut it again there. I'll just cut a little bit right there at an angle. Alright, there. So that's the sharp point. So when you're trying to put this thing in, if you're doing it, let's zoom back in there. If you're doing it blindly, then it's like, oh, and you got that black thing in there. Is that in? You know, if you got the cover in, you're not really sure if it's when it's in. So many euphemisms. Innuendo. So yeah, and especially like even if you get it past the guide, sometimes it doesn't go in the hole. So I would no hand the focus. Yeah, so I would suggest taking off the fan and stuff like that. If it's the first time you're putting it in, remember, first time in, use protection. So, but we're not going to be playing with that. We want this thing out so we can just look at the stepper motor, because what we're going to do is we're going to make it stall and stuff, and we're going to adjust the potentiometer and make it go again. So, but because I've got the you can't see because I've got all the motors set up pretty much the way I got the extruder set up, the way I like it, the way it's working. So I'm not gonna actually adjust the potentiometer on that extruder. What I'm gonna do is, let's see if I can zoom back here. I'm going to do a little bit of switcheroo here. I'm going to turn it off, unplug everything. I'm going to pull out the stepper motors out of the X and the Y. I'm going to leave the Z in there because I'm not going to be moving that bed up and down. But then I'm going to take the extruder from Z, the extruder out of there, and that extruder is this stepper motor here. So I'm going to take that extruder and put it into like the X or the Y. I'm going to take out these off of the ramps board, so when I move this carriage, the gantry around on the X and the Y, it won't send any power or anything to the ramps, to the control board. So it's going to be unplugged, and also the extruder will be unplugged. The Z will stay plugged in because I'm not going to move that around. But I think that's safer, right? So I'm going to move this thing over here to like the front or center, easier to look at it with the camera. And then I'm going to plug the extruder into X or Y. And then I'm going to move the X and the Y axis on here, on the controls, so you can see it move left and right, left and right. And then I'm going to adjust the potentiometer, the current on the stepper here, on the stepper motor, and when I adjust it, it's going to start malfunctioning. It's going to start going gunk 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 gunk, or it doesn't even want to turn. And you'll be able to see that clearly with this little red mark on the drive gear and the other side. You'll see it moving around. It's like, oh, now it's spinning, now it's not spinning. And you'll hear it make some noise. So we want to get it from the one noisy part, from the gong gong gong, and from the no power zone. We want to get somewhere in between there. And to do that, we're going to adjust the potentiometer screw. Those are those little screws, right? Where's my tool? Oh, here it is. We're going to adjust with this right there. Right, those screws, we're going to give it a little twist. And what I actually did here, you can't see, but I'll try to show you, is, oh, it's way too, oh, that's good. Oh. Can you see that? Oh, there you go, that's good. I filed the end of this dental tool to make a little tiny screwdriver out of plastic. If you use metal screwdrivers, something like this, you can sometimes hear it go click, or hit a little click, and some energy is going in there. So I'm gonna try to use this plastic made screwdriver just to turn the little knob. Okay, so that's the plan. So first thing to do is to unplug everything. So I'm gonna unplug the thing and then unplug all of the stepper motors. So power off here. Power off. And now we unplug these things. So I'm gonna unplug the X. Here's the X. Okay, bye bye X. There's no more X movement. And Y. I have the ramps screwed down there because I'm still messing around with it. And I'm gonna unscrew the extruder. So unscrew. Now I'm gonna disconnect the extruder. Here we go. Okay. So now this extruder, with the red going down, pointing towards the cables here. I'm gonna connect to, let's say, the well, I can do it now because I'm not moving that extruder. I'm going to be moving the other stepper motors, not the extruder stepper motor. So I'm going to plug into the Z, to the Y. Let's just put that in the Y. Come on. Come on. There it goes. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now the extruder is the Y-axis. And because I unplugged the Y and the Z stepper motor, when I move this thing around, I'm not going to get any feedback into my board. Is that a good image on camera there? So. Push that back a little. Okay. That's good. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is turn it back on and adjust the Y. I'm going to move the Y axis, which will send tell this extruder to move around, right? So the actual X and Y motors are disconnected. So it's up and going and say, oh yeah. Alright, so now I'm gonna go to my controls on the board here, on the display. Will it focus? Oh yay. And I'm going to say prepare and move axis, and I'm going to say 10 millimeters. That's going to be big. So, and I'm going to go to Y. I'm going to say Y. So now when I move the Y, it's going to, oh no, will that focus? Oh good. See it go? There it goes. And it can just move forever because there's no... And if I want to loosen it up, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, that's nice. Nice and smooth. And it too much. And now I'm going to screw around with the potentiometer down here on the Y, where that thing is, and I'm gonna tell it to move, and then I'm gonna adjust the power, and you'll see it either doesn't move or it starts clicking or something. So that's where the voltage is, what I'm doing on the potentiometer. And then before I move it, I'll come on, focus. Oh, no. Okay, that's good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is use a little plastic thing that I made and get it right on there and then twist it just a little bit. And I know that twisting it counterclockwise makes it less powerful. So I'm going to twist it maybe a half or a quarter turn to the right, to the left. I don't know, I've never used a screwdriver before. Nope, not working. Hold on. Okay, I think that did it. I moved it just maybe a eighth of a turn. I'm gonna move the axis on the Y, 10 on the Y. It's still moving. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's still moving. So I'm gonna turn it a little bit more just to make it even weaker. Oh, it's still going. Now it's too weak. Now it's like, oh, it can barely. Sometimes it doesn't want to turn. So that's too weak. I'm going to turn it the other way to make it too strong. Okay, that's too strong. See, it's starting to click. Do you hear that click? So that's bad. We don't like that. So that looks pretty good right there, right? Yeah. So now it's working, and yeah. So that's how you just twist that little screw, and I suggest using a plastic screwdriver, or maybe you can use a plastic fork or something to make your own fork or screwdrivers. You just need something that will go in there and twist around. So you can't even see shit. I'm way too out of focus. Yeah, that's better. So yeah. So that's it. If you get that like quack 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 like I showed at the beginning of the video, you can adjust that and make sure your filament is in there right and a bunch of stuff. So hopefully that will get you going. Yeah, that was, you know, I appreciate some help from the other YouTubers that I've seen out there, but the details, you know, I hope this was useful. Showed you exactly what I did and changed the so the warning, I've heard, this didn't happen to me of course because it's still working, that if you turn the screws too much they can break off, or you touch them with aluminum or metal screwdrivers, they can short circuit. So that's why I made this plastic screwdriver here. If you have a file and you have a piece of plastic or a fork or a plastic whatever, pretty sure you can make a screwdriver. They just have to be small enough to fit that thing. And yeah, so now I'm gonna swap all the stuff around again, put the extruder back where it was, move the things, and we'll send it back to home and we'll see if the Y, that Y motor works, and then everything will be back to normal. Okay, hold on. All right, I switched around all the stepper motors and got my extruder back to where it was, and all the other ones to where they were. My X and Y back connected. So now when I turn it on and auto home it, will use the things and go back home. So that's how I did that without getting into the actual voltage numbers and stuff like that. And I'm sure if you're doing the first test print and trying to get the things to actually print out, then maybe eyeballing it is good until you can get the PC set up. And I was having issues with the PC, so. But yeah, now everything seems to be working. Now I'm gonna auto home it and see if the Z is working. The Y, because we're testing it on the Y. Plugged in, power on. Auto home. Click. Click. Perfect. Was that noisy? I don't think so. So now I'll just have to attach the fan again with the heat sink, and we're good to go. We got to put the filament back in. So now when we put the filament in, let's look at that. Make sure it's in there. Push down the little lever. No tension on there. Make sure it goes down in the hole. Alright, that's in. That's in the hole. That's where that goes. And now we're going to run the test print to see if it shoots out hot loads. It should, because it shouldn't. The extruder should not be. Where's my finger? Where's my finger? Oh, that's a good question. The extruder shouldn't be affected because we switched out the motors and the potentiometer wasn't even adjusted on the extruder. So this thing should be back to where it was before. So there was no ill effect on the extruder setup because I switched it out. Right? Am I right? Alright, so let's connect it all back up and run another test print number 7. I think that's number 7. Alright, hold on. That cube is pretty good. That test print is the best. It's still warm. Yeah, that's the best print ever. I'm going to take it off that thing and then show it to you up close. But I'm so happy now. Now, last step for me is to wire up all the stuff, and then it's done. Alright guys, that was fixing your clickety thing and adjusting your extruder, and I did some bed leveling there, which I did off camera, but it was just me running a piece of paper over here. This thing was, it's 51 degrees according to the bed here. The hot and the hot end is 71, but yeah, you can touch it, and it's kind of cold in this room, so it's not too bad. I printed straight on the aluminum there with nothing. It was just straight aluminum. There may be some residual glue from the masking tape on there. Maybe that helped, but yeah, this is the first time I printed straight on the aluminum. No glue stick or hairspray or anything else. It was just that. I'm thinking I should get some glass or something, but oh, so nice. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to print something else now. I can't stop. I got all that plastic over there. It's a plastic crack roll. Hey man, I got a roll of plastic crack for you. A couple bucks a roll. Plastic crack! It's crack! Alright. Okay, guys, that was hopefully that was helpful. Come by, bye bye.